Murat Gassiev. Now, Gassiev, even now, is really one of my favourite boxers, or really fun boxers to watch. But back when he was at cruiserweight, this guy was a phenom. And people don't talk about Gassiev enough. They sort of, because it was when Usyk was cruiserweight champion, people sort of disregard the cruiserweight champ division and like it was only really Usyk that was there. No, Gassiev was there. Gassiev was a serious fighter at cruiserweight at one point. Serious fighter, and in my opinion was not as much of a boogeyman as Usyk, but a boogeyman. Guys weren't lining up to fight Gassiev. Let's have it right. Guys were not lining up to fight Murat Gassiev at cruiserweight. That being said, he has lost to Usyk and he has lost fights since. He probably has been at cruiserweight, probably spent too much of his career at cruiserweight and waited too long to make that move up to heavyweight. And now that he's sort of far removed from his physical prime, he's now fighting at heavyweight, which isn't really a good sort of balance. You know, you're already past your prime and now you're fighting guys who are bigger and more powerful than the guys you're used to fighting. It's not really a good mix. And Anthony Joshua would by far be, I'm imagining Anthony Joshua would be the biggest guy that Gassiev has ever fought. And no doubt the most powerful too. Like I said, both guys are pretty far removed from their prime, but still, I think Anthony Joshua's still got enough power to keep someone like Gassiev honest and use that size and that strength to make the most of it and probably beat a Murat Gassiev. And that would actually be one of the best wins on AJ's resume as well. Because Gassiev, like I said, having a name like Gassiev, a guy who accomplished what he done at cruiserweight, was an undefeated world champion at cruiserweight. You know, that's not easy to do, even at that time in cruiserweight. Now that cruiserweight division isn't as stacked as the current cruiserweight division, in my opinion, where you've got Jaya Pataya, Zerdo, other guys as well. You know, a number of other guys. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think that Gassiev fight's likely because Gassiev's not a big name, and Anthony Joshua at this point, I imagine he'd want to be fighting the biggest names he possibly can because he's a veteran at this point. He doesn't need another rebuild job. He needs to go in there, get the biggest winnable money fights he can get, and that's how he ends his career until he loses one bad loss, and that'll be it for him. So I don't think that Gassiev fight's likely, even though it would be a personal favourite of mine to see.